Another Miami Dolphins victory. That means another deeper dive. Let's jump into this man jam. What is up, Finn fans? We are going to dive deep into that victory yesterday. Today for me, again, I record these Sunday nights, and I did get some information on Terron Armstead's injury. So that's why you're getting this early. You're getting this when I normally release my videos around 10 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, we'll get into that. I'll kind of go over the details of that. We'll jump into a bunch of stats, how good the rush defense is, and I'm getting back to comment of the day. I've been slacking, and I do apologize. I've been absolutely 100% slacking on comment of the day, but we're getting back to comment of the day. One of you guys asked me a very good comment on the week 10 film study that I'm going to. So again, if you guys want to be part of the comment of the day, say comment of the day and then ask me a question, and I'll try my best to get to them. Just boop the microphone on my chin. But let's jump into real quick Terron Armstead, right? It was released that Terron Armstead, from Tom Pelissero and somebody else, is a pectoral strain. Now, it's a type of tear, but it's not a tear. It's not a pectoral tear where it's, completely torn. And essentially, during stretching or contracting of the pectoral, experience tension, right? The tension can become excessive with high repetition or high force. I didn't say those right, but you know what I'm saying. This can cause pectoral muscles to tear. This injury is known as a pectoral strain, but there's different grades and different types, right? Pectoral tears, as well as muscle, ligament, and tendon tears are graded on severity. So you got grade 1, which is a small number of fibers are torn, resulting in some pain but allowing function. So you can still do things, you still move your arm, your shoulder, all that good stuff. There's a gnat in the room. Grade 2 is a significant number of fibers are torn with moderate loss of function. And then grade 3, all muscle fibers are ruptured, resulting in a major loss of function. A pectoral strain is most commonly grade 2. A grade 3 is normally where you'll hear, oh, he tore his pec. Whereas you hear, oh, it's a pectoral strain is normally grade 2 or grade 1. So I don't know the severity of Terron Armstead's, whether it's a grade 1 where he still has function and there's a possibility he plays on Sunday, or it's a grade 2 where it's significant numbers of fibers are torn with moderate loss of function. And in that scenario or instance, it's probably like a week or two. But it's not a grade 3 where it's a complete tear, right? So again, strains are somewhat of tears. They're like little tears in the fiber of your pectoral muscle. There's the major and the minor. The minors go this way. The major is the one that you feel. It's going from here up to your shoulder. Down. It's these. And then the minors are going behind your major. See what I'm saying? But essentially, he doesn't have a tear, which is a grade 3. He has a strain, which is still technically a tear if you want to be technical about it. But we'll see. We'll see what today brings with the press conference that comes out later today. So I want to give you guys an update on that. I don't know how long or if we're going to be without Terron Armstead. I'm hoping they're literally just going to do what they've been doing, which is you don't have to practice all week. Don't practice all week, and maybe we can get you on Sunday. Pretty much. But if not, we'll go without you Sunday. Hopefully we can pull this off, and I'll talk more about that in the upcoming weeks. And then we'll use you next Sunday against LA. But yeah, I just want to give you that update on Terron Armstead's injury. So let me give you a little bit of stats here, a little deeper dive in that aspect of it. So Tua Tagovailoa, as of right now, has 2,564 passing yards, which is 12th in the NFL. He has 19 touchdowns, which is 7th in the NFL. He has a 115.7 passer rating, which is first in the NFL. And he has a 69.7 completion percentage, which is second in the NFL. I want to give you more in-depth stats, but it normally takes about a day for those to come in. And again, I'm recording this Sunday night, so I can't tell you, his yards per attempt and, his air yards and stuff like that, because those stats haven't come in yet. Tyreek Hill, 1,233 yards. First in the NFL by a yard. Justin Jefferson has 1,232 receiving yards. He's first by a yard. He has 4 touchdowns, which is tied for 7th. He's actually tied with Mike Gesicki with 4 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, 963 yards, which is 5th in the NFL. 6 touchdowns, which is also tied for 5th in the NFL. I'm going to give you some more stats here from Brett. Brett says the Miami Dolphins had Houston to just 36 rushing yards. It is the fewest rushing yards allowed by the Miami Dolphins since December 11th of 2017. It's my daughter's birthday, December 11th. Not of 2017. Obviously, she's going to be 2. When the Patriots had just 25 rushing yards. We'll talk more about that rush defense in a second. He also says, per NFL research, Tyreek Hill is the 6th player in NFL history to record at least 85 receptions and 1,200 receiving yards in the last 4 of his first 7 career seasons, joining Marvin Harrison, Antonio Brown, Torrey Holt, Chad Johnson, and Demaryius Thomas. Tyreek's going to be a flippin' Hall of Famer. He also says Tua's 278 passing yards in the first half today were the most in the first half by a Dolphins quarterback since at least 1991. A Chargers fan actually came out on Twitter and was like, when Justin Herbert faced the Texans, these are his numbers, and look at Tua's numbers when he faced the Texans. And so many people were like, my man, you ever see that GIF with Noah Hill and Noah Hill, Jonah Hill, when he's like, my man, Tua didn't play the full game. We literally sat him down. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. Yeah, so pretty good. Pretty good numbers again. First half stuff there. Let me talk about the rush defense, and then I kind of want to talk about what Tua said in his post-game press conference on the field. So the Miami Dolphins rush defense, right? It's going to go up. I think they were ranked 15th when I did the preview on Friday. It's going to go up. The Dolphins have not all season allowed a 100-yard rusher at running back. Now, obviously, you had Lamar Jackson and you had Justin Fields rushing for over 100 yards. But at running back, the Miami Dolphins have not allowed a 100-yard rusher. And I'm going to break them down for you. So this past game, Dare and Pierce. Dare had 14 carries for 4 carries for 14 yards. Pierce had 5 carries for 8 yards. Against the Browns, Nick Chubb, 11 carries for 63 yards. Herbert and Montgomery with the Chicago, who had a top 5, top 10 rushing offense, mostly because of the quarterback. Herbert, 7 carries for 23 yards. Montgomery, 14 carries for 36 yards. Detroit, Williams, 10 carries for 53 yards. Swift, 5 carries for 6 yards. Najee Harris, 17 carries for 65 yards. Delvin Cook, 13 carries for 77 yards. The guy who got the closest was Breece Hall. He had 18 carries for 97 yards. Joe Mixon, 24 carries for 61 yards with the Bills. Moss, 4 carries for 46. Singletary, 9 carries for 13 yards. With the Ravens, Hill had 13 carries for 16 yards. Drake had 6 carries for 8 yards. And then week 1 with the Patriots, Harris had 9 carries for 48 yards. And Stevenson, 8 carries for 25 yards. So this rush defense is pretty flipping good. Like, it's pretty good. I know we're going into this week having to face CMC. I know their other running back, the 49ers, is injured. He got injured in the game today. I'll give you more updates on that when we get closer to the game and in my preview on Friday. But this rush defense needs to be, recognized a little bit more, because besides Breece Hall, none of their running backs we faced broke 80 yards, let alone 100. The closest was Cook, 77 yards, and Nick Chubb with 63. Other than that, no one broke 80 yards. Harris had 65, but it took him 17 carries. Mixon had 61, but it took him 24 carries. Like, the yards per average are horrible against this rush defense. So that's something we also have to remember when we're going in to facing the 49ers, that, yeah, their CMC is really good. And then, obviously they're going to probably do some things with Debo. But the Dolphin rush defense is really good, and it's going to force the 49ers to throw on Miami. And that's where hopefully we can get pressure like we've been the past 2 weeks. Now that Bradley Chubb is starting to feel feel himself a little bit and getting a little bit of pressure there. But those are some of the inside stats that I wanted to give you, talk about. Again, Tua, if he never got injured and if he played this full game, I honestly think he would be top 5 in passing yards as well. The fact that he's 12th and he's 2,564 yards. I think I had him. I said that if he gets to like 4,500, I'd be happy. So he needs to get another like 2,000 yards. I think I could see him doing that. And I think I said 30 passing touchdowns. He only needs 11 more. I could definitely see that happening. I think he has 3 interceptions on the year too. He's had some close calls, but this one close call where it was intercepted, they tackled our guys. So it seems like the only time these guys get their hands on the balls and when they're doing little illegal things. But real quick, we're going to listen to what Tua had to say. I'm going to talk about that, and then we're going to get to comment of the day. This is what Tua had to say. I think this is Kinkabala, Anita Kinkabala, I think that's her name.
Okay, Tua, 299 yards, 1 touchdown for a partial day's work. Considering you're coming off the bye, what was the biggest takeaway today?
That we have a lot to continue to work on. It's hard when you're hot and then you go into a bye and then you're coming off of a bye and trying to, resurge what you've been doing the past three to 4 weeks, with our group of guys. But it's a great opportunity for us to get back in on Monday and, find out things that we can work on and get better at those.
So when you think about the second half, what's the biggest learning lesson for this team?
Well, it's finishing, but offensively, we got to be able to communicate better. Mm-hmm. We got to be able to finish drives. We had many opportunities to do that today, but we didn't. So, it's a great learning lesson, and what way to learn, winning.
So as you look to this stretch drive, so much is leadership and playing together. Yesterday, Mike McDaniel said you are the reason he got into coaching. Can you please share just a little bit what it's like to play with him?
Well, having someone that first off believes in you makes all the difference. Having someone that calls me randomly, just telling me how much I mean to him and the things that he's trying to accomplish and we're trying to accomplish as a team. And it's cool. I've never had that. I've never experienced that. This is my first time having that kind of relationship with someone, of that type of authority, being the head coach of an organization. But just love that guy.
I don't think that's
even if you won't go on vacation with him.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't want to go on vacation with him.
Thank you so much, Tua. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I like that he's owning up to things. The offense is stalling at some points, and they need to do better at communication, this, and that. What we forget is this is the first year under the offense under brand new coaches, right? First year. And one of you guys on Twitter made a great point saying that Mike McDaniel still is making rookie mistakes, especially with clock management, with certain calls in certain situations. He's still making those rookie mistakes. And he's 8-3. So just imagine when he gets over those rookie mistakes, when he starts to understand it a little bit more, when he starts making the right decisions and the right calls in certain situations, the team's only going to get better, right? Again, this is first year under Mike McDaniel. This is the first year under his offense. And we have a top 5 offense, top 2 offense. Tua is a top 5, statistic quarterback. Like, this is ridiculous. Now, the defense needs a little help. And then obviously our offensive line, we need more depth there. Needs to stay flipping healthy. But I like that he talked about, you're hot, right? 4-game winning streak, you go into a bye, you kind of cool down a little bit. You don't have that repetition and that, okay, this is the plan, boom, game. This is the plan. And, it's just this constant movement and we're hot. We're going to build off of it. And we saw that, right? They put 30 points up, 23 on offense in the first half. And then obviously Tua came out, but you saw it kind of stutter and sputter a little bit, especially on the defense and the offense. But I think he makes a valid point kind of talking about, you go into the bye hot and then you come out, you feel a little cold. But now you got to go to the West Coast. So hopefully, you guys warm up a little bit heading over to that West Coast. I'm going to really talk about, having someone believe in me and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about Brian Flores. I'm not going to talk about his dynamic anymore. I'm moving past that. I'm moving forward on that. Tua's doing great. Mike McDaniel's doing great. Like, we're at 8-3, number one in the division right now at this point. I'm just taking that, moving forward, going on to San Fran. But comment below. Let me know. Let me know what you think about Teron Armstead. Let me know what you guys think about the stats, what you guys think about our rush defense, what you think about what Tua had to say. Comment below. Let me know. And for the first time in a while, and I do apologize, I'm going to get back to comment of the day. And this comment comes from Scott Gaver. I hope I said your name right, buddy. And he says, comment of the day. Doug, a lot of people are worried about the cold weather, but if you look at the schedule, we only have 2 cold weather games, Bills and Patriots. All the other away games are going to be in warm weather. Yes, a whole 100% agree. The Bills game is incredibly important. Now, these next 3 games on the road are big, right? They're really going to dictate what this team is. Now, losing to the 49ers would suck, obviously, because we lose, and the Bills are probably going to win, and then obviously we get knocked out of the first place, and the Bills take over, and it's going to suck because Bills are like, I told you, you're only going to have it for so long. But it doesn't hurt us in the aspect of essentially like playoff tiebreakers and stuff like that, because it's an NFC team. Regardless, I want to win. I want to win all the rest of the games. I want to finish the season at 14-3, win the division, and potentially get a first round bye in the playoffs and tell everyone they can go suck a butt. But it's, you know, the AFC teams, the Chargers and the Bills game are incredibly important. But back to your talk about the cold weather games, right? I will say this. That Tennessee Titans game last year was a complete and utter team collapse. Everyone wants to see what Tua can do in the cold, right? What can Tua do in the cold? Tua in the cold. I want to see what the team can do in the cold. I want to see what Mike McDaniel can scheme up in the cold. Because what people keep forgetting is that Tennessee Titan game wasn't just Tua. It was Brian Flores. It was the defense. It was a team loss. The Buffalo Bills game the year before in 2020, last game of the season, trying to make it into the playoffs. We allowed the Bills to score 21 points in 8 minutes in the second quarter. Like, you kidding me right now? It's not just on Tua. So, you know, a lot of people want to just hyper focus on the quarterback and say, I want to see what he can do in the cold. I want to see what he can do in the cold. He can play lights out in the cold, not throw an interception, make the throws. And if the receivers are dropping them, if the offensive line isn't blocking, and if the defense isn't making any stops, there's only so much that the quarterback can do. I want to see what the team can do. I want to see the schemes. I want to see the preparation. I want to see everything going into these cold games. Because last year, the Tennessee Titans game, listen to what Mike Gesicki had to say. Did you have any preparation or you have any schemes or anything for the weather and the cold? No. Did you make any halftime adjustments? No. So necessarily it's not always on the quarterback. So again, a lot of people want to say that wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat, and I agree. It's a team, because a quarterback can play lights out. Look at Justin Herbert and still lose games. But then people also want to take losses and put them on the quarterback. Wins and losses as a quarterback stat are only there if they fit and feed your agenda, right? Tua's 14-1 in the last 15 games. But, you know, good portion of that had to do with him playing with a really good defense. You know, there were some games last year against the Giants, against the Panthers, where he was making really good throws and he was helping the team win. But there's also games where he wasn't playing too great, like at the Saints game, and the defense really helped us out. So I want to see what the team can do in the cold. That's what I got to say about that. But on that, I'll see you guys tomorrow in the film breakdown. And then me and Big O are getting together. And then I have a collab coming with a 49ers YouTuber that will be out on Friday with the preview. After tomorrow, straight to 49ers. It's a very big game. If we could beat the 49ers, if we could play hard against the 49ers, that shows me that this team is going to win in the playoffs. And this team is a playoff team. You got to beat these types of teams. You got to beat these 49ers type of teams with the top. They have the number one defense in the NFL. What can this offense do against the number one defense in the NFL? But that, guys, like usual, stay classy. FN's up.